Today, in our St Lucian rum deep dive, we're taking on Bounty 151. 75.5% ABV. This, I'm looking forward to this. Hey rum fans, welcome back. Here on the Blue Channel, it's all about rum tasting. Each month I take a different country, a different island, and we go through the rum, sort of starting off with the cheapest, working up to the more expensive, all within keeping of my limits of sort of roughly speaking 50 UK pounds, 60 US dollars, 60 euros, that kind of stuff. I'm not interested in the more expensive stuff. But don't forget, I've also got 5 other YouTube channels these days. 3 other sort of rum channels. We've got brandy, we've got an out and out cocktail channel. If you want to go and check those out, the links will be in the description below. Now, the 151 market in the UK is a bit minimal, if I must say. I'm not saying it's a huge category worldwide, but my impressions are that around the world there are a lot more choices to be had when it comes to 151. Now, 151, 75.5% ABV, you know, gets called for quite a bit in tiki cocktails. If you look at Don the Beachcomber books down there and Beach Barbarian, Smuggler's Cove, you know, they do call for 151 rums quite a lot. But predominantly they do call for lighter Spanish style 151 rums like Cruzan and stuff like that, you know, those Column Still rums. Now, we generically don't really get them. From my knowledge, we have got Don Q 151, which I've never had. I've never tasted. To my knowledge, I've never had that. The other higher ABV rums we do get are heavily Guyanan influence, which is not necessarily what the tiki books kind of call for. When you think about it, Pusser's 151 or Pusser's Select Barrel, whatever it's called, is Guyana. It's Guyanan rum. Plantation OFTD, you know, a bulk of that is Guyanan rum. The only other one that I can think of that we potentially get here in the UK is Goslings. And again, even though, you know, it's not really publicised where the rums come from, we can pretty much assume it's heavily influenced by Guyana, Demerara rum. So inherently speaking, in the UK, when it comes to these certain cocktails, these cocktails that call for these lighter Spanish origin, Puerto Rican, Dominican Republic 151 rums, we just don't get. So I'm really excited by this. Now, I have tasted this a couple of times before at rum festivals. This has been, roughly speaking, this has been out or been a thing since June that I know of, 2023, and it came to market, I think, roughly October, November 2023. To give you a ballpark UK figure, £41.26 from my guys at Master Malt. I've bought and paid for this bottle. It's something that I've needed behind the bar, a Column Still 151 rum. I've kind of needed that, so I've bought this. So 41.26, that translates to 52.5 US dollars, 47 rounded down, 47.5 euros, 77 Australian dollars, and then rounding up slightly, 70 Canadian dollars. So before we go in for a nosing and a tasting, I need to give you the DNA. This is essentially a blend of unaged Column Still rum and 3-year-old Column Still rum, which again has been aged in ex-bourbon barrels, etc., etc., but basically blended down to 75.5% ABV instead of your stereotypical sort of 40%. So again, we have got a different kind of DNA of this rum compared to the other. This is not just a higher ABV version of Bounty Gold. This is not a higher ABV version of Chairman's Reserve Original. This is its own right, its own rum in its own right. Now, on the old nostrils, first off, you're not mistaking this for a higher ABV because that does burn the nostrils a little bit. So that's there. But you get this like lovely sort of vanilla extract kind of aroma going on. You get this little sort of caramel, more sort of heading towards toffee vibes going on there. You get that. But without it being, I don't know how to say it. I get those, but I don't. Smelling that doesn't make me think of, oh, that could be Barbados, that could be Guyana or Jamaica or something like that. It's a totally different vibe while being, you know, still that sort of toffee, caramel, vanilla-y kind of vibe. It's a really, it can only come down to the base rum, but it's is completely different. It's lighter, fruitier. Oh, tropical fruit. Of what are we going on there? I'm probably going more towards a pineapple vibe on that. And yeah, but there's nothing. It's nothing else really. Vanilla up top, toffee, a little bit of tropical fruit on there, and something that's really, really burning my nostrils. Right, drink responsibly, kids. 151. Woohoo! So my eyes are scrunched up. Getting past the ABV, which is actually not that hard to do. That is a surprisingly drinkable 151 rum. Rums doesn't get much stronger than this. Alcohol doesn't get much stronger than this at a commercial level. Tropical fruit. Subtle, probably not even subtle vanilla. Subtle caramel. A little bit of toffee in there as well. But it's fruity. It's proper light and proper fruity. A honeyed vibe I'm getting as well. It is actually quite drinkable. Don't get me wrong, there is an alcohol burn to that. There is. But if you get past that, if you don't have a bigger gulp as what I did, and I heard that bit, if you kind of acclimatise your palate, that's actually quite accessible. So second tasting, where I've just killed my tongue. I've just, as I do, I swirl it around my mouth, like run it over the sort of top of my tongue. The fruit really does come out. This is fruit forward without a shadow of a doubt. Proper fruit forward. Do you know what? Is almost verging on being a fruit rum. I get nods to Stiggins fancied plantation pineapple. It's not a pineapple flavoured rum. It's not a flavoured rum. But, you know, it's on the way. It's really quite fruity. There is this, I'm going to nail this down to butterscotch, actually. This toffee caramel buttery vibe going on that I can only describe as butterscotch coming in the back there. Yes, there's a lovely alcohol heat to it, but it is not a... let me rephrase that. There's this lovely alcohol burn coming from that, but it's not an alcohol heat. It's not an unrefined heat. It's not your ethanols or anything like that. This is a lovely, you know, it's quite robust. It's quite, for a Column Still Rum, it's quite unctuous as well. That's really delicious. I've got nothing behind my bar so far that remotely plays like that. So I'm looking forward to how this, you know, seeing how this would work in various cocktails. You know, when, as I said, when those books, when Don the Beachcomber, when Bacbari, when Martin Kate Smugglers called, when they call for that 15 ml of Overproof 151 rum, I'm really interested to see how that plays out in some of those cocktails. Now let's loosely talk mixers here. I don't think you're going to buy this as a mixer rum, as a rum and coke rum, because the price, you know, if you're going to mix that, yes, look, stereotypically, what we would recommend as industry professionals is that when you're at home and you pour like a double measure, actually pouring half a measure, 30 ml, 25 ml in the UK, 30 ml instead of like a 60 glug if you're in the US, it does the same job. It just goes a lot further. So you kind of balance the price. However, I know when you're at home, you're just going to go glug. You're not going to think, oh, well, yeah, I use half the amount because I don't need to. It doesn't work like that if you're at home. So therefore, I don't think many people would buy this as a mixer rum. However, if you did, it's really delicious. But I prefer the Bounty Dark as a mixer rum with Coke. You know, the Bounty Dark, cutting the ginger beer that I did, is superb with that. And this, right, it's nice, it's delicious, it's really good. It doesn't really give me what I want from a mixing rum. The same can be said for the Mai Tai. It doesn't have the richness in flavour. It's still stereotypically a lighter rum with a little bit of fruit. It doesn't have the richness in the body to come through in a one rum Mai Tai. I much prefer the Bounty Dark, and even the Chairman's Reserve Original over that. But that is not why you would buy this rum. You would buy this rum for the bumping ABV in cocktails. When the cocktails call for 15 ml of like this overproof rum, that's what it's there for. It gives you that little bit of flavour, with that little bit of oomph. So actually, you know, £40 or whatever this was, I've got rid of the page now, that's actually a really, really good investment, because you would only use 10 to 15 ml of this at a time. You'd get like 40, 45 cocktails out of this if you used it in its proper thing. What I would surmise, if you did a 15 ml of this on top of like a 45 ml of the Bounty Dark, again, you've got a stunning, stunning Mai Tai. So look, before I finish this video, I've just got an overview to kind of give you so far, because the one thing I've noticed, this is what, 5 videos in that I've done now. The one thing I've noticed with Barbados, especially Barbados, I was on the search for my favourites, neats and mixing rum. And they were all generically the same rums. Yes, you do get different flavours, you do get different, you know, I'm not saying they all taste the same, but generically, when it comes to cocktails and mixing, they all do pretty much the same job. St Lucia don't work like that. St Lucia definitely doesn't work like that. Oh my God, you know, the rums I've tasted so far, they all have very different flavour profiles, do very different jobs. And if you were asking me now, this was kind of the reason I didn't set out the videos to say I'm going to try and find my favourite Mai Tai rum and my favourite neat sipping rum, because I'm not overly convinced that's possible with St Lucian rums at this point. And we're not even halfway through yet, because all these rums do different functions and they are absolutely delicious. And so far, this is why I much prefer St Lucian rums to Barbados rums, because cocktails, neat sipping, mixers, depending on your mixers, daiquiris, they're all different rums. I don't think you can narrow this down to 1 or 2 rums. I think this is going to turn into a collection of rums that you need to have from St Lucia.